you.
Everyone happy? Most of us were here 4 years ago as observers for the last vote. We are here to share our observations of the Nigerian election so far. There is a longer statement from the entire group, but what I'm doing today is sharing the observations of this delegation that was based in Abuja. So I just want to make that very clear. The organization is bigger than the 7 of us. There are many other conclusions. I'm going to try to touch on the most important ones here, but we realize you guys are journalists because we're all journalists. You're in a hurry, so we're going to try to get you out of here with what you need to do your report. So let me stress that we've all been in Abuja, the ones here at the desk, and have not traveled to other areas of the country to assess the situation there firsthand. We are currently monitoring information through the media, by engaging with other observer missions, by speaking to the contacts that we have established in our long relationship with Nigeria, and with other members of the IIFOM. We have seen some positive signs, including a reduction in violence and a large degree of transparency in the process. But we are aware of problems and allegations of fraud. We have personally faced the challenges that Nigerians across the country have struggled with in recent weeks, the absence of cash to pay for transportation, food, and other basic needs. We are not here to pass a final judgment on the credibility of the balloting, as we need to collect more information before drawing any definitive conclusions, but we are here to update you with what has happened so far. The International Foreign Observers Mission will release our full statement once they are printed, but one important conclusion that I would like to emphasize. It is our opinion that in the aftermath of elections, candidates are free to approach the courts or electoral tribunals for a review of the election process towards establishing whether or not the electoral process was compromised or not. This means it's not to be tried in the press, it's to be tried through official means. Now, let me give my fellow observers a chance to make some of their observations. Ruud, would you like to kick things off?
What it is to come and vote, because there was no transport. Even myself, I didn't have a car sticker, so I had to walk to the polling station. And in the Abuja heat, that's quite a challenge, especially if you're carrying stuff. But what I saw was a relatively calm situation. The only stress that was there was people trying to find their names on the registration list. And that was a kind of stressful event at that moment. But I found the INEC staff reacting to that very professionally, and then they gave people numbers so they could queue in a nice way. And that also gave me an opportunity to speak to them. So at that particular polling station, things were fine.
I think it can be resumed in 2 words, this election, especially for the French that I am. I found it enthusiastic and peaceful. You can have a smile, but compared with other elections that we saw all over Africa, it's what I noticed. And I was very impressed by the number of youth and young elders who are participating. It means that all this population is now really conscious of the importance to go to vote and to put his bulletin in the vote and to bring his country to make it grow up and to change if necessary.
There were talks of people in lines for 9, 10, 12 hours, and by God, they were determined to vote, and I thought that was very heartening, very heartening. Obviously, the elections took place amid a complex security situation in the country, in several parts of the area of the country, as we know, and this had a knock-on effect on the voting process within those areas. Notwithstanding the violence, some of it deadly, in certain parts of the country, my own observations, coupled with those of fellow observers and monitors with whom I've been in contact, suggest that the atmosphere was, as some of us already said, by and large peaceful. There were clearly issues of dispute, even in those areas which saw no violence. From the late opening, I mentioned of the polling stations, to things like the checking of IDs and the functioning of electronic BVASs. I would say that given the ongoing challenges to results, which Dan has already referred to, together with the claims and counterclaims which are swirling around us, even as we're all here now, it is still too early, I think, for us, indeed any of us, to make a definitive judgment about exactly how free and how fair this presidential election has been. However, Nigeria is a young democracy, and while there is clearly much room for improvement, as a former resident of several years of this country, I'm confident that improvement will come.